things we have the ability to do here at NELHA that very few places can do is grow specific pathogen-free broodstock shrimp. And broodstock is a fancy way of saying the mama and papa shrimp for shrimp farms. When you start a shrimp farm, you want to be careful not to use just any mama and papa shrimp because shrimp are very susceptible to diseases and pathogens. And they make a gazillion babies, so you want to be careful. You want to buy certified SPF shrimp that are guaranteed to have no pathogens and diseases. And there are a few places in the world that can do that, but because you need to have certified pathogen-free seawater. And the thing about NELHA is because we're pumping up water from 2,000 and 3,000 feet deep water, it has no bacteria or pathogens. This water is pumped up into the quarantine facilities where the shrimp broodstock are grown, and then they're about this size, this is about 12 months. Then they're shipped off to various countries at shrimp farms. Like India is probably the biggest market for these guys. India, also Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Southeast Asia are big areas where a lot of shrimp are grown, and Mexico as well. So that's where all of these shrimp are being sent to, shrimp farms mostly in Asia.
So what, so is this sort of introducing a species that's not?
These are all, they're all indigenous species from that area. These species of shrimp do not exist in Hawaii. That's why they're not for sale. We don't use any shrimp that you can buy here. In fact, all of the species of animals that are sold here cannot be sold live for growing. The seahorses are another one that we're doing for ornamentals. If you want to buy a live seahorse from the company here at NELHA, you must have an address somewhere else, outside of Hawaii. Because the seahorses that are grown here, grown in the tanks here, are not found natively in Hawaii. So they're all shipped off into other countries where they then grow them in tanks. The same goes with oysters, and that's the other reason why we don't have an oyster industry in Hawaii. We just have the spat industry. It's the Pacific oyster from the state of Washington. They have a very large oyster industry. The baby oysters, when they're very young, they're called spat. They eat a lot of phytoplankton. Phytoplankton grows very well where there's lots of sunshine. The problem with Western Washington is that it lacks sunshine. In fact, I lived there for 3 years in Seattle. From October through the 5th of July, it's raining almost every day. Hard to be happy when you're a little phytoplankton. So the very large oyster farms like Taylor's and Coasts have moved all of their hatchery operations to NELHA, where they have a sunshine all year long climate to grow lots and lots of phytoplankton and feed the spat. When the spat gets to be 3.5 months, they get put on an airplane and then shipped to Seattle, where they then grow out to market size in the Puget Sound. Then when we want to eat them in Hawaii, we fly them back. Now the largest of the finfish farms in the state is also based here. And they are growing the kahala. That's the Hawaiian name. The kahala is found wild in Hawaii. There's plenty of it. You can go on a boat and easy chance you can catch a kahala. The problem with a kahala, and that's the amberjack, is that it is struck with a nerve toxin called ciguatera. Now ciguatera, you do not want to eat it. Cooking the fish will not kill the nerve toxin. All of your sense of touch will go haywire. What should feel cold will feel hot and vice versa. But it's such a good eating fish, this amberjack, so the company Kona decided to take wild kahala from the ocean. Certainly it had ciguatera. Went down several generations to create broodstock.
Is ciguatera a disease or a bacterium, or?
It's a bacteria, yeah.
It's a bacteria.
Yeah. It started way back after World War II from the sewage in boats. Yeah, it was in the sewage, and they would dump the sewage right at the port. It affected the coral reef. A lot of the coral here in Hawaii Island, well, in fact, all of the islands are affected with ciguatera. So the little reef fish are eating off of the coral, and they're getting ciguatera. it's fine to look at them. But the carnivorous reef fish predators are eating the little reef fish, and they're getting ciguatera. It keeps bioaccumulating. That's the problem. And so when you eat very large predatory reef fish, there is a very good chance that it has a high level of ciguatera. So the fish that we like to eat like this, because it's so high in omega-3 fatty acids, it's so tasty, we can't eat the wild ones anymore. So we need to rely on farm raising them. Now, I said earlier we have 7 billion people on the planet. Has anybody seen this movie called Soylent Green? If you have not, please watch the movie. Charlton Heston it's really a good film. The story is the year 2022. There's 10 billion people on the planet. Global warming has gotten so bad that it's droughts everywhere. There are no more land-based farming. So the only way for humans to keep ourselves alive is we go to City Hall and we get our supply of Soylent Green. Soylent Green is a superfood high in nutrients and protein. That's what we use to keep ourselves alive. Of course, when you watch the movie, you'll find out what Soylent Green really is. But should we ever get to the stage where we need to run into that situation, perhaps an alternative to the Soylent Green in the movie is something like this. It is spirulina. It is a superfood. It is extremely high in protein and nutrients. And it has been used by the South Americans for centuries as a food source. It doesn't look nor smell very appealing, however. So the company that grows it here at NELHA, Sayanke, packages it up into powders that you can use to make smoothies or tablets, for example. As out of all the crops that you can think of growing, this is one of the best. Because you can harvest a 300-yard raceway every 7 days. That's how quickly this microalgae will grow. The ponds are inoculated on day 1, and by day 7 there's a tractor that's collecting all of this soup. The paddle wheels are in place because they grow so quickly that all the surface would clump up right immediately. So a great crop to grow. The other type of microalgae this company grows is called the Hemetococcus pluvialis. They grow this to make a product called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin was grown by this company for the salmon fisheries industry. When you look at a farm-raised Atlantic salmon, it is a nice orange color. That is because of the astaxanthin, sorry. This astaxanthin has been blended into the fish food for the farm-raised salmon industry. That's what turns the meat orange. If it wasn't blended in, the meat color would likely be white or grayish. Wouldn't look too appealing for one, and it's healthier for the salmon. Today, however, the company doesn't grow any astaxanthin for salmon industry. It's all for human consumption now, ever since they discovered that it is a powerful antioxidant with anti-inflammatory properties. So if you're suffering from pain, from inflammation, arthritis, joint pain, muscle ache, things like that, that's why the athletes love this product here, because it's a safe product that reduces inflammation and their muscle pain. Okay, I'm running behind schedule here, I see. One of the interesting things that we do is grow cold climate vegetables and plants. We actually are growing wine grapes right here on the property. We're able to do that by tricking the plant to think that it's somewhere else, not in Hawaii. Because the cold seawater passes through the pipes. The condensate that forms on the outside of the tubes are used to chill the root of the plant down to a temperature that tricks the plant to think that it's like in Napa Valley. What is interesting about what we're doing here is we're getting 3 times the crop per year by creating 3 seasons a year. And the way we do that is when we want the fruits to ripen, as the fruits get larger that is, we slowly start to cut down the flow of seawater. The soil begins to warm up, and then when we want them to fully ripen, we shut the water off, the soil gets very warm, the fruits turn all red, and the sugar content goes up. We then harvest all of the fruits, we prune down the vine, we give it a week's rest, and bam, we shut the water, we turn the water back on full blast. the root gets cold and they start to flower. Spring has come just like that. Kind of like playing God of sorts. But we create 3 seasons a year, and that gives us 3 crops per year of grapes. Of course, I don't know how that's going to affect the life of the vine itself. It might cut their life in by a third. But it's one of the things that we do. The final topic that I want to talk about here is seawater. Nothing like a refreshing bottle of seawater, right? To quench your thirst. From about the year 2000, we started getting companies that come in here that wanted to bottle seawater from NELHA to sell for a premium price. Of course, the NELHA staff said, well, we can't see how this is going to sell. Why would anybody want to drink seawater as a refreshing beverage? Well, it turns out the skeptics were completely wrong, and today, sadly I would say, because I'm not a big fan of bottled water products, but the bottled seawater is Hawaii's #1 non-agricultural export. Bottled seawater, Hawaii's #1 non-agricultural export. Now, can anybody take a guess? What is Hawaii's #1 agricultural export? Agricultural export. Any guesses? I'll give you guys 3 guesses.
Papaya. Papaya.
It's not papaya. Macadamia nuts, no. Those 2 guesses are wrong. Okay, that one fits into the top 3.
What did you say? What was it?
Coffee.
Ah,
Yeah. Coffee is our #3 agricultural export. Okay. #2 is sugar.
oh, still.
The #1 agricultural... No, it's not seaweed. You would never guess it.
We'll
You would
never
never
guess
guess
it.
I've had groups, every winter around January and February, I get busloads and busloads of farmers from the Midwest, many of them corn farmers. And I ask them the same question. Nobody has gotten it right yet.
Really?
The answer is seed corn.
Oh.
Coffee, our #3 export, is a $17.8 million industry. Seed corn is a $278 million industry for the state of Hawaii. Seed corn.